meaning every speaker that you will be hearing tonight will be evaluated by someone else. So with that, let's get started. I am going to call upon the man who is going to be responsible of the functionaries, and that is Mr. Tosin, who took up the role of general evaluator. Tosin, please explain your role and introduce your team, please.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmasters. I will be serving as the general evaluator for today's meeting, and I will be evaluating anything and everything that takes place throughout the meeting. However, I'm not alone. I have a couple of team members that would be helping and supporting in this event today. The evaluators, the accountant, the grammarian, and the timer. And at this juncture, I would like to please call in Jessica Son to please introduce yourself and tell us your roles as the grammarian and the accountant.
Okay, thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. For tonight, the meeting, I'm going to be the grammarian and also the accountant. And as a grammarian, I'm going to introduce the word of the day. And also, I will count it how many people is going to use the word of the day. And also capture positive phrases used by the speaker, plus the grammar mistake or whatever that come out during your speech. And for the word of the day today is cognizance, cognizance. And it's a formal word for knowledge, awareness, or notice. It's a noun. For example, he was deputed to bring the affair to the cognizance of the board. So it's the knowledge of or notice or awareness of the board. So cognizance. And it's also a law term, and it means the action of taking diction. So that's also a law word. And another word, it means the action for taking judicial notice. So it's or of a fact beyond the dispute. So there's a very formal word. And there's also another meaning, I'm not quite sure, is called a distinctive device or mark, especially an emblem or badge formerly worn by retainers of a noble house. So it's a very interesting word. But today we will use it mainly for knowledge, awareness, and notice. Cognizance. All right. And then as an accountant, I'm going to count the crutch word or filler word of the speakers. So basically, people like to use the connection word. Like I notice I use a lot. So that's the filler word I just unpurposely used, right? So we're trying to limit that usage. So I will be the one who guarded and counted when you use and also the filler word, for example, and, well, but, you know, so, those type of words. At the end of the meeting, I'm going to give a grammarian and a counter report. So back to you, Mr. Actually, I have a suggestion since we have Carol here and she doesn't have a role at this point. Would you like to take one of the role? You are muted, Miss Carol.
I mean, one of the roles of accountant or grammarian?
Yeah, would you like to take one of them?
All right, I could do that. Thank you.
Okay, so which one you want to take?
Well, Jessica, I could take the grammarian.
Okay.
And I will restate the words of the day as I'm familiar with them.
Oh.
One is cognition. Is that correct? Is that what you were saying? Cognition? And the other is
No, it's one word, cognizant.
Yes, cognition,
Is that-
Cognition.
No, Cognizance.
Oh, cognizance.
Mm.
That cognizance.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. All right. So the word is cognizance. And you could also being cognizant of, being made aware of. So that's a good word of the day. I didn't understand the judicial or the jurisprudence
Yeah.
portion of it,
Yeah.
but now cognizant, I got. Okay.
All right, I will be the accountant then. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jessica.
All right, back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
All right, thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Carol. At this point, I would like to introduce our timer for the day. Mr. Jorge, please take it away.
Thank you very much. Yes, I also will be performing as the timer of the day. I will be keeping track of time during our prepared speeches. They will be 5 to 7 minutes. You will see my background. You will see the colors green when the speaker gets to 5 minutes, yellow when they get to 6 minutes, and 7 when he has accomplished the maximum time of 7 minutes. And red when they get to 7 minutes. You'll have 30 seconds to wrap up your speech in order to be qualified. For Elias, that will be doing the table speech, is only 3 to 5 minutes. So we'll have the same rule, but they will be 3, 4, and 5 minutes. And I also will be keeping track of the evaluators that will speak from 2 to 3 minutes. And since we are not going to have table topics tonight, my work will be a lot easier. So I'll make sure that I will help our Toastmaster to make sure that our meeting finish on time, start on time, and finish on time. Thank you very much, Mr. General.
Mr. Timer, there's one thing, if you can please note my speech timings, that will be from 3 to 4 minutes.
2 to 4 minutes?
That's
Oh,
correct.
all right.
Thank you.
And Mr. Timer, my speech is 8 to 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. So everybody's breaking the rules today.
No, but mine is consistent with Toastmasters rule.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm following.
See, 5 to 7 minutes. That's what I had in the agenda. Did you
No,
look at
no,
the
it's
agenda?
right there. I don't know which one you read, but it's right there on the agenda.
Okay.
Ah,
So
yeah.
8 to 10 minutes, but your 8 to 10 minutes will take it from Rafia and make it here 2 to 4 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay.
Mr. General Evaluator?
Thank you so much. Also, I would like to hand it over to Mr. Jorge to please introduce yourself as a ballot counter.
So also after the speeches, when we go for voting on the best speaker, you will be, I'll try to set up the ballot, but my mouse is kind of not working very well with me tonight. So if I cannot set up the ballot, you will please on the chat privately send me your vote for the best speaker of the evening. We are not going to have best speakers and best evaluator for the evening. We are not going to have a table topic, so it won't be about for the best table topic speak. Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Mr. Ballot Counter. At this point in time, I'd like to turn the control to the meeting Toastmaster, Mr. Avi. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Thanks, the functionary team. Looking forward to a great meeting. And now, with that, let's go ahead and kick off the prepared speeches.
Sorry,
There is a
Master. Apologies. My video is not showing right now. I don't know why. So if we could move to the second speech, if it's possible, then I will fix my video. My apologies. I've been playing around with it. I don't know why.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for letting us know. As you just heard, there will be a small change on the agenda. The first speaker will be going number 2. So let's start with speaker number 2, who is actually right now speaker number 1. And our speaker's speech title is A Social Speech. Rafia is going to be the first speaker. Rafia is working on her innovative planning pathway. She is delivering a social speech that is part of a level 3 project. The speech she has prepared to present today is the one she will be giving in her upcoming 8th grade graduation ceremony in May 2024.
Oh,
Some of the graduates have started the journey 11 years ago from our class. I am so excited. Rafia, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmasters. Good evening, graduates, teachers, and parents. It's my great honor and privilege to be standing in front of you with this momentous day of our academic life. We are proud of your achievements and accomplishments throughout the year. As I stand here, I am overwhelmed with emotions and memories. Those who don't know me, I'm Rafia Safi. This is my 17th year with Elif Montessori Community School. And most of you have started your journey from my classroom. As you all know, the mission of Dr. Maria Montessori and the mission of our school is to make our kids prepared for life and make them independent. On this day of celebration, I would like to go back in time and want to remember the time when you all came to my classroom as a pre-K 3. When you came to my classroom, you were just learning your movements, your language, your communication, your motor skills. Then I saw the progression happening. And then I saw your math skills, your handwriting, your language elevating. And it's always amazing to see how the kids, how they progress, how they show the improvements, how they learn, and they become independent in 3 years. And the role changes. In the beginning, you're following the older kids, and the time changes and the role changes. Then you are the role models. And then the journey of the elementary and the middle school starts. I know, and it is true also, that my colleagues and I were tough on you at times, but it doesn't mean that we don't like you or we hate you. It is because we want to make you ready for life. We want to make you ready for bigger challenges. And you all have proved with time and with experience that you have built the strong foundation. And then we have always been connected. Like, of course, our building was not the same. We were in different buildings, but whenever you pass, whenever, like in the morning time, in the dismissal time, or the time when we need your help, you are always connected. And that connection is something that, we don't feel that we are fall apart. So, my dear graduates, when you leave this school, your challenges wait outside for you. And I strongly believe, with all your previous experiences and the knowledge, you will be able to challenge, you will be accept all these challenges in life. And for now onward, I would like you to please just show the good deeds. And then I would like to see your successes, and we would like to just listen your successes in life. And we want to wish you good luck, whatever you do and wherever you go. Thank you so much again. Back to you, Mr. General Wali, Mr. Toastmasters.
Thank you, Rafia. I'm very sure everything that you did for your students, they're gonna be super successful in their life. They'll look back to everything that you taught and will be proud where they are today. Thank you. Mr. Timer, could you please put 30 seconds on the clock so everybody can provide feedback to Rafia? Everyone, please use the chat option, drop down Rafia's name and provide your feedback. Things that you feel like she can improve on, things that she did very well, things that can help her give more impactful if you think so. She did really good.
Thirty seconds has passed.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. We are going to move on to our second speaker, that is our past president, Mr. Akin Oni. Akin is an energy industry project executive and distinguished Toastmaster who has been with the Toastmasters since the fall of 2016. He currently sits on the education board of AACE International, and he is the chair of 2 District 56 Toastmasters Committee. This program year, actually, as part of his second DTM project, due to be awarded after tonight, Akin will speak on the. Oh, 1 second. Akin will speak on part of execution, closeout, and learning of his DTM project titled Development of a Centralized Records Cabinet. This is over 8 to 10 minutes. Please join me in giving a warm, wonderful welcome to Akin as he delivers his speech. Akin, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And good evening, everyone. I believe that Ohe is the timer. Am I correct? Because I can't see him.
That's
That is
correct.
correct.
You see me in the background?
Okay, yes, I can see you now. I can see you now.
I just give
Okay.
that there. Okay, there you go.
Okay, thank you very much. To those who were not at the last meeting, maybe about 3-4 meetings ago, when I presented the part 1 of my DTM project, I am going to quickly browse through highlights of what I presented as part of the planning element of this project at the time. Development of a centralized document management system, essentially. As part of the scope and the purpose of the project, I was expected to actually develop and create a dedicated centralized location for hosting and management company records so that we can achieve the following purpose. 1, provide technical records governance at handover to operations, facilitate audits, support of project record documents throughout their life cycle, of course, mitigate any known risks in the course of creating, processing, and finding documents and in our document management system, and finally, drive consistency across the company with respect to document management and control processes. We identified a few key risks, some of which are the risk of continuing without a dedicated records cabinet, include but not limited to multiple handover variations. We realized across the business before this project was initiated that handover was a big challenge across the business. And then we decided that, okay, we need to zero in on districts and make sure that we eliminate it if at all possible, because it's not a risk that we could transfer. Then, of course, promotion of inconsistencies and continuous survival mode mindset, which was where we were at that time before this project was initiated. And then people have issues finding documents. And then, of course, which is the case that we never wanted even external shareholders to be aware of, was confusion of drawing selection, particularly in the event of an emergency or when we have a safety issue. The last thing you want to do is not be able to find the right P&IDs, which is piping and instrument diagrams, or the layout or the block diagrams. So these were some of the risks identified that this project will fix. And next, which we talked about the last time too, was some of the key team members. I'm not going to go over this, but we have 2 categories of teams: those who work directly with me and those who are my stakeholders or single point of accountability from the different parts of the business. And then finally, last time I talked about the high-level timeline, which, I mean, aside from the start, it was divided into 2 phases, with future phases to be taken care of after this current project is completed. Of course, we had a pre-work, we had the submission of the concept with a business case, and then, of course, we developed the process for the use of documents from the Central Records Cabinet. And that was the end of that project. Now, it may sound really dry because this is more of just a document management project. There's nothing to it, there's nothing really slick about it, other than we didn't have a centralized system. we want to create a centralized system. That's really what the project was about. And then we allowed future phases to include things like using the documented lessons learned, commencing future enhancement, and aligning to business needs in a manner that fully unlocks the system potential. And that will be starting in the fall of this year, after having rolled out this investment for the past 2 years or so. Now, tonight, I just wanted to walk you through the overall timeline. I'm not going to dwell too much on the details here because the purpose of this DTM project number 2 is for us to understand the outcomes and the lessons learned. Of course, I told you about the starting phase of the project, which was when we developed the concept, developed the business case, and then we obtained approval to actually execute the project. And then the second phase had to do with developing the plan, crystallizing it, and testing all the functionalities and making sure that everything worked well. And then before we went live in September of 2021. And then the second phase, which is develop process to return documents from operations to the central records cabinet, and all those work activities leading to the testing of the functionalities, and then the go live to finish the second phase of the project. Now, what were some of the outcomes of this project or the benefits to the business? Number one, central governance. One of the key reasons we initiated this project was to have a central repository of our documents. That way, there is one source of the truth. When people are looking for any project information, maybe it's a facility information, a pump, or a heat exchanger, a pipeline, they know exactly where to go to. Before this project was executed, people went in different directions to look for documents. Number two, we were able to consolidate records. You realize that even when you are done with a project, you will come out with a number of deliverables. In the course of operating that project, there will be what we call MOC, management of changes, which is going to happen no matter what. So these drawings are constantly being reassessed and updated. And then this CRC enabled the business to be able to consolidate all the records. What did we finish with at the end of execution? What do we have now? And how did we manage all the changes to the deliverables in the course of running the plan? And then number three is control document access. Now, within the business, we have a protocol for managing control document, because it's not every document that needs to be controlled. Then we identify and we categorize different deliverables that we've got. And now we have a controlled document access, so that if a document is considered controlled, there is a protocol for granting people access to that document, so that whoever is granted access to the document, they know exactly what the expectations are in case the layout of the plant is changing and there needs to be an update to that control document. Number four, consistency across the organization for document management and control. Because we've established this CRC, we now have a consistent way for managing documents and controlling documents across the entire enterprise. And then the next one, which is assurance and compliance, is actually now very easy, whether it's the insurers of our facilities or maybe the auditors. When they ask us any question regarding any part of our overall facilities, we know exactly where to go to get what. And then the last but not the least is what we've created now support what I call the one business work environment. We don't have it all over the place anymore. It's one business, and people know exactly what to do and when. And on the final note, what are some of the learnings? Number one, we learned that we need to document scope early and obtain buy-in from stakeholders. Those who manage projects, you know that you don't have a project if you don't have a scope. But when you have a scope, document it. That way, when people come to you to say, no, do this, which is contrary to what you have been authorized to deliver, you tell them, here is what the board approved for me to deliver. Number two, understand and factor in the risks, obstacles, and opportunities because they will occur. I was able to learn with my team that understanding and factoring in the risks, the obstacles, the opportunity, assessing them, making sure that we communicate that across the enterprise was very vital. And then number three, planning and setting aside time to manage potential known unknowns and unknown unknowns. They will occur. Known unknowns, they are part of delivering projects. Those are things that you know, for example, you know that weather is going to hit, but you just don't know the impact. But there are unknown unknowns, just like COVID-19. You didn't know that COVID-19 will hit, but it did hit. Number four, and this is central to any successful project delivery, minimize and manage project change. Remember, I talked about understanding the scope and documenting it. As a project manager, we learned that you should minimize and manage your project changes clearly. That way people know what's in and what's out. Then establish a core team with a single point of accountability. I was accountable for the delivery of that project, and that was clearly defined at the onset. And I defined my core team, as you saw earlier. And then keep stakeholders and core users engaged every step of the way. That was one thing that I learned. And then last but not the least is develop a clear plan for the implementation of the business change occasioned by that project. That's the second part of my DTM project. Thank you all so much for listening tonight. And then back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Mr. Akin. Wonderful speech. And again, congratulations on your second DTM from the whole club. No one else could have done except you. Thank you. All right, Mr. Timer, could you please give 30 seconds on the clock, please?
30 seconds.
Everyone, please provide your feedback to Akin.
Seconds has passed.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. Our next speaker is probably the person who played almost all the roles as an officer in this club, Madam Jessica.
No.
Jessica works at Hargrove Engineers and Constructors as a project manager. She is a licensed professional engineer and a registered PMP. She has joined this club for 7 years now, and currently she is serving as VP of Public Relations. Jessica is originally from China. She moved to Canada 25 years ago. Then she moved to USA 9 years ago. Her parents used to live close to her in Canada. Then they moved back to China in April 2019. She visited them in October 2019. Then she could not see them for 4 years due to the pandemic. Tonight, she is doing her first level 3 speech for her path, Leadership Development. And the title of her speech is Visit Home After the Pandemic. Jessica, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can I please share the screen?
You should be able to share your screen right now, Jessica.
Okay, let me find. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me put it. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to Mr. Toastmaster for the introduction. It has been 4 years that I couldn't see my parents. As soon as China opened the door to the world, I flew to China twice in 2023. However, I was not prepared for the challenges visiting home since I'm not a local Chinese anymore. Hopefully this speech can connect with your experience to your hometown or your home country that you haven't visited for years. Compared to 2019, it is harder to get to China. First of all, getting a visa is a little bit harder. Houston used to have a Chinese consulate, but it was ordered to close in July 2020 by the US government. For Texan, to get a Chinese visa, we need to either go to Washington, D.C., the Chinese embassy to get it in person, or pay somebody to get it for you. And secondly, the flight is limited between the two countries. So the flight price is much higher. For both trips, I pay about $1,500 or $1,600 for each trip. And it's about 50% more than I used to pay. And I heard people pay 2 to 3 grand during the summer or other busy season. And the duration for the flight is longer. So I don't know if you guys, because I'm recording, there's this bar in front of me. I don't know if you guys can see it. So from Houston, I flew to Shenyang, my hometown. There's direct flight, so it took about 20 hours. And I do stop in South Korea. The flight stop in the South Korea to get fuel. But altogether, it's 20 hours I get home. But because there's no direct flight last year, so I have to take EVA airline and start from Houston. Then I stop in Taiwan, and there's no direct flight from Taipei to Shenyang, so I have to go to Beijing. By the time I arrive in Beijing, it's already 8 p.m. I still need to collect my luggage, pass the custom, so I couldn't catch the last flight to Shenyang. So I took an overnight train to Shenyang. By the time I arrived in the morning, 48 hours already passed, more than 100% than before. So the duration is much longer. When I arrive at Beijing, there's more difficulties for me. First, having a reliable cell phone with a good service is very important. Luckily, I bought an international plan before my trip, so I can use my phone to call people, get in taxis, and the other things, but it was costly. I spent about $10 a day to roam around in China. In China, everybody use WeChat and other apps to buy tickets, to communicate, to book hotel, book tickets to train or flights, and many, many more. And the US social media like YouTube, Google Map, Gmail, all those are blocked by the government. So it was a shock to me at the beginning because I don't know where I can get those information I need. And then after talking with my mom, my friends, I learned, oh, there's also apps here in China that I can download on my phone and I can find the information I need and do things that I want to do. And the third I found difficulty is to buying stuff. There's not many places accept cash, and almost no place accept US credit cards. And in China, all the stores, the vendors, taxi drivers, they will have a barcode for you to scan. And they expect you to pay with Alipay or Taobao Pay. And I don't have that. In order to set that up, I need to maybe have a Chinese bank account, Chinese credit card, or all those things in order to be able to set it up. So that's another difficulty that I have faced. Even in, so with all these difficulties, I don't want to scare you because now many people has been traveled to China, and there's much more tips on the website or social media than when I traveled last year. So they will share with you how to go past those difficulties. And plus, I think the government also opened the rules, so it's not that strict that you have to have this in order to get Alipay or all the other stuff. And due to the time limitation, I will stop here for today. I will share the rest of my experience with you in the next speech. And I promise it will be nothing to do with difficulties anymore. I will talk about food, about my people I met, and then the places I went. So all the fun stuff will be coming. So please stay tuned. And if you have similar situation that you have going home and you found you are a stranger, please share with me. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jessica. Wonderful speech, and I understand what you went through for your 48 hours travel time. I had been through that same thing too. Thank you for sharing your experience. Mr. Timer, could you please put 30 seconds on the clock?
Yes, sir.
While everybody is providing feedback, did all the speakers qualify? Mr. Timer?
Yes, sir. All the speakers qualify, so we can.
Right.
Go
Are we
for-
doing voting for our speakers?
Pardon me?
Are we doing voting for our speakers?
Yes, sir. Yes, unfortunately, I couldn't, my computer is not working correctly. I couldn't set up the ballot, so I'm going to request that you on the chat privately, chat to me and send me the name of your preferred speaker of the evening. And I'll give you another minute to complete this, please.
Are we good?
I haven't received all the votes yet.
Okay.
I only have received 2 votes.
Carol, if you're speaking, you're on mute.
Jorge, I don't see your name on the chat list.
It shows as president. I say.
Oh, there you go. Speaker number 3, right?
It's not a speaker, it's actually evaluator, but president.
Okay.
And speaker 3.
Okay, thank you.
I'm misleading you. Sorry about it.
Okay.
I should have put ballot counter. Fortunately, something is wrong with my mouse. It's not working properly, so.
Okay, with the interest of the time, I think we can continue, Mr. President, right?
Yes, sir. We can continue. Thank
Okay,
you.
all right. So that was 3 prepared speeches that we had, and now we are going to change the mood of our evening. The whole meeting will convert into a competition, a contest mode. So me being the Toastmaster of the day, now I will play the contest master of the evening. We have 2 speakers. For first speaker contesting for the international speech, and the second speaker is contesting for the tall tales. Both are different categories. Luckily, our club is sending 1 person individually. So this is going to be the preparation for the contest. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you're on mute all the time. If there are some comments or any gestures needs to be passed on, please reserve them until the end of the speech. Mr. Timer, I may request you to put 30 seconds on the clock for the speaker to be ready. To start with, we are going to have our first segment, that is the international speech contest. We have 1 contestant, Tosin. Tosin, can you hear us?
Yes, very well.
Thank you. We can hear you and we can see you very well. Mr. Timer, let us know once 30 seconds is over.
30 seconds is over. We are ready.
International speaker number 1, Tosin. Speech title, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Tosin Escher.
On Friday, July 21st, 2023, I picked up my 3-year-old from the daycare. And as soon as we got home, my son noticed that I had my shoes on. And he said, "Dad, you need to take off your shoes." And I turned, looked at him, and smiled. Said, "Why would you tell me to take off my shoes? Can't you see that I'm tired? I've had a long day." And he said, "But Dad, it's rule. You make the rules and you have to take off your shoes because that's our culture." And then I said, "Okay, I will take off my shoes. But here's the thing, going forward, when I take off my shoes, you give me a high five." And he said, that's a deal. I'll give you a high five going forward. And we did that. In the course of our journey to success, we are constantly seeking ways to win. But that's not always the case. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. Sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Winning. Winning is a word that we all love to associate with. But when we don't win, sometimes we see ourselves as losers, dispirited, displeased. Many a times we see the glass of water half empty rather than half full. In December 2022, my friend Charles, who worked in a technology firm, had a performance review with his boss. And in their conversation, the boss said, "Charles, you've done remarkably well this year. But in order to get a merit-based salary increase, I would need you to improve your performance in the following year." And Charles said, "I'll take the deal and I'll go for it." And Charles put in the work, and not only did he double his performance, but he tripled his performance. And when it was time to review in the following year, the boss and Charles, they came together, and the boss said, "Charles, I know you did very well on your job this year. You didn't just go the extra mile, you did extremely well. But here's the thing, I'm sorry, I wouldn't be able to increase your salary because you have some skills that I believe you need to improve on." At that point, Charles was hit with a shocker. At that point, the anticipated hope of getting a salary increase was dashed. Can you imagine being in Charles's shoes? How would you have felt? How would you have reacted? How would you have managed the situation? It was apparent Charles was unhappy, he was heartbroken, and he was displeased with the situation. He wanted to win, but it appeared that he was losing. It appeared he was losing because this boss has just gone against his words. His boss has lost the integrity behind his promise. Now, After this conversation, Charles' passion for his job began to wane. It began to trickle like the drops of water from a glass. Ta, ta, ta. And I'm sure you're saying, and you're thinking, if I were to be in Charles's shoes, I'm leaving that organization. I'm definitely leaving that job because Charles's boss was not true to his words. But here's the shocker. Instead of Charles leaving the job, he stayed. He took up the challenge and he improved on his skills. And not only did he improve on his skills, in 3 months later, he got another job that paid him a salary increase of 50%. Now, the experience from Charles' story tells us that in our pursuit of purpose, of vision, we are challenged to see the road to fulfilling our dreams and desires, that they're dependent on these 3 keys: attitude, resilience, and courage. Attitude. A good attitude makes it possible for you to be successful. It gives resilience. Resilience is the ability to sustain energy through challenging circumstances and to bounce back from adverse situations. And the last key, courage. Courage is the strength of mind to carry on in spite of difficulties. Whenever we're courageous, we tend to go the extra mile. But when we're not courageous, we tend to not fulfill our dreams and our purpose in life. The possibilities and potential to winning lies in our ability to see failures and setbacks as experiences that we can learn from. It's a challenge for you and I not to see the glass of water half empty, but to see the glass of water half full. It is solely our obligation to determine the future that we desire, the future that posterity will be proud of and cognizant of. On our road to success, would you like to be cognizant and to consider and embrace the mindset that sometimes you win and sometimes you learn? Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tosin. Mr. Timer, could you please put 30 seconds on the clock, please? Thank you, Mr. Timer. Our second speaker is from the second category, that is tall tales. Our speaker is Ilyas. Ilyas, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can see you very well.
Great.
Mr. Timer, could you please put 15 seconds on the clock, please? Thank you, Mr. Timer. Category 2, Tall Tales. Speaker number 1, Ilyas Dasbas. Project title or speech title, Elliot Moon Soccer Adventure, A Tale of Galactic Goals. Speaker, Ilyas Dasbas.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Long ago and far away, in enchanted lands, there lived a legend named Elliot, galactic footwork, the best player ever. Elliot's skills were extraordinary. and his goals were like magic on the field. His adventures and stories have been told for years from ear to ear. One day, after a big win, Elliot and his teammates decided to aim higher, literally. They planned a trip to the moon for an out-of-this-world soccer match. It was a full moon that day. Wolves were howling louder. So they put on social spacesuits and flew to the moon with soccer balls and big dreams. Upon touching down on the lunar surface, they discovered low gravity turned soccer into a hilarious spectacle. Kicking the soccer ball made it fly like a shooting stars, and players bounced around like they were on a trampoline. It was like a circus in space. Elliot showcased his gravity-defying footwork when surprise opponent appeared, Neil Armstrong, the moon's first guest. Armstrong, a secret soccer nut, challenged Elliot to 1-on-1 match. The Lunar Soccer Showdown became a side-splitting display of kicks, flips, and moonwalks. Elliot danced circles around Armstrong, leaving moon rocks in stitches. In the end, Elliot won. No surprise. But being a good sport, he didn't brag. And Armstrong, with a twinkle in his eye, kept the match as his lunar secret, telling himself, I stuck the flag at least. The ball from the game resides in a museum on the moon's permanently shadow side and never touched by a human, not even a sunlight for over 1 billion years. Recently, China has been sending rockets to the shadow side of the moon to find that ball. It's like a treasure hunt, but it's on the moon. If they find the ball, they plan to bring it to the Earth and conduct millions of lab tests. I heard they want to copy the ball and use it in the upcoming World Cup in USA. They are hoping this will ensure China wins the World Cup. That could be as unfortunate as Armstrong losing the game against Elliott. I wish the final game will be in Houston. That way, it could be even more ironic. NASA, after their soccer disaster, stopped sending humans to the moon missions for a while. But now, after 50 years of secret soccer training, they think they can finally beat Elliott. So they resume moon missions, hoping this time the lunar surface won't witness a cosmic comedy of soccer errors. Now we are all excited for the next soccer game on the moon. But this time we are standing tall and saying, we can beat Elliott this time, and let the moon games begin. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Elias. With that, I think we are getting out of the contest mode. So people, we can cheer, we can laugh, we can unmute, we can do what we have to do. I don't think we are going to vote for the 2 contest speakers, but formality wise, I have to ask Mr. Timer, did both the speakers qualify? All right, thank you. With that, I think I can transfer the control of the meeting to a general evaluator to kickstart the evaluation process from here. Mr. General Evaluator, Tosin.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. At this point, we will be evaluating our speeches, and I have the privilege to introduce our first evaluator, Mr. Ohe.
I was going to be evaluating Jessica.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think I'll be the one.
Okay.
This will be the first evaluator, and then Jeff will be evaluating Akin, and I will be evaluating Jessica.
Okay, thanks for
We'll
that.
have a last minute change of role because Akin dropped to the second evaluator. So.
All right, take it
My
away.
apologies.
It's okay. All right, Elias, please take it away and do your evaluation.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Mr. Akin, I have a privilege of evaluating your speech tonight. And I'm going to use the sandwich method. First, I'll focus on the positive aspects of your presentation, and then I'll discuss areas where I believe some improvements can be made, and then finally, I'll challenge you at the end. Mr. Akin, you express your ideas very well. First of all, you chose very interesting topic, development of centralized records cabinet. Even before the meeting, I knew that I will learn something interesting today because I had no idea about the topic before the speech today. And it was very interesting and it was very informative. As a project manager, I am in early stages in his career. I learned from your presentation. Thank you so much. At the beginning of the speech, you talk about what the speech will be about, and later on, you exactly focus on the topic, and that was great. And presentation prepared very well, and you explained process step by step and made it understandable, made it understanding easy for us, even though there were lots of information. The structure of the presentation was great, great, and great. The second part of my evaluation is improvements. I think pictures. You can add some pictures in the presentation. I think that touch public's life and that make the presentation engage with public. In the beginning of your speech, you gave some information how this speech implement in public. It was very good, I guess. And I think adding pictures might take public's attention. It was very informative speech and it can be sometimes overwhelming. And taking attention of the public could be tough, especially of this type of presentations. But I felt like adding pictures might add value to your presentation. And in addition, I think you can make some improvements on timing. I felt like the end of the presentation ended quickly. And my third part of my evaluation is challenge. I'm challenging you to standing up when you are presenting and step back a little so the audience can see your whole body, and this way you can express your ideas by supporting them with your body language. I'm not saying that because I'm able to do that, I'm having the same struggle, but I'm saying that if you can challenge yourself for the next speech, then I challenge myself too. You will be a good mentor for me as well. Again, I really enjoy your speech and thank you for presenting today and giving me this opportunity to evaluate yourself. And back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Elias, for the powerful evaluation. At this point, I believe I should be evaluating Rafir, the second speech. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll turn the control back to myself. Thank you. Rafir, thank you so much for the speech, the social speech that is part of your level 3 project in preparation towards the upcoming 8th grade graduation ceremony in May 2024. The understanding here is that some of the graduates have started the journey 11 years ago in your class. Now, I like to focus my evaluation using these 3 C's: connection, contribution, and control. In terms of connection, Rafir, I would say that you connected well with the audience. You helped us to understand your relationship between yourself and your students. I thought it was great. There were a number of things that you made mention that I would just like to recap. You said that it's always amazing to see progress in 3 years and that these students become their and to see that the role changes, that their role have changed in 3 years, and that going forward they will become role models. I thought that was really good. And you also said that the journey starts here. The journey starts from the elementary school. I thought that was also great. In terms of contribution, I would say that you also contributed well in terms of showing that life, it's about exchange of value. And what do I mean? When you give, it's often better to give than to receive. And you kind of showed us that you gave yourself to the students by ensuring that even at times you went hard on them, but like the overall goal was to ensure that they became better versions of themselves, which I thought that was also good. And then the last bit, I would say that was control. You were in charge of your screen. I thought that even though maybe perhaps you must have sat down, but I felt you were able to utilize your hands well. You were able to manage the camera well. You looked into the audience, and I thought it was also very good. One of the things that you also made mention was that you say that I would like to see that your successes one of the things that you said to the student is that you would like to see their successes in life going forward. I thought that you had character. I thought that you had attitude. I thought that you had poise, even like I said, while you sat. So I thought overall it was good. Now, one thing that I would like to challenge you on going forward, or to encourage you on going forward, is that if it's nice, you can maybe show us maybe just one picture that shows you one of your heartfelt moments with your interaction with the students. You don't have to show maybe 5 slides or 10 slides, maybe just one slide that would just show maybe a picture that you took with one of your students, maybe smiling, maybe angry, maybe sad or something, but something that just shows us that you had that connection with your students. Other than that, I thought it was a great speech, and thank you so much. Now I will return the control back to myself as I call in the third evaluator, and that will be in the person of our dear president, Mr. Jorge. You're on mute, Jorge, Mr. Jorge.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I'm going to ask Abby if you can please time me, if you don't mind. So I have to be timing myself. Thank you very much. Let me know when you are ready.
I'm ready. Yeah, go ahead.
All set. Somebody came out of the. We need to unmute Rhonda. Okay. Thank you, very much, Mr. General Evaluator. Jessica, as usual, you have the most incredible speeches, the most interesting speeches. I'm going to evaluate you on the content, delivery, and connection. But the content, and I said your speeches are always very interesting, and you select the most incredible topics. In this case, a topic that is very dear to all of us, I would say, but especially to those that are immigrants to this country and that have a home away from home, that we like to travel once in a while. And not because you are originally from China means that when you go back to China, everything is smooth and easy. You make us feel that pain when you go to a country that is not really your home anymore. And you get in that situation that you don't know if you are at home or you are away from home. But the content was incredibly good, and the way you presented was really, really warm. Your delivery was spectacular. You used a very personal approach to bring us to your experience and to show your experience in China. But again, it wasn't very easy, but you were very clear and very consistent in the way you talk to all of us and the way you move forward with your presentation. So even though it was a kind of difficult thing to present in the sense that you have to
Thank you, Mr. Jorge. At this point, I would like to also call on our speech competition evaluator, Mr. Abbey. Please take it away.
Mr. General Evaluator, I think the first evaluator would be Akin to evaluate you.
Okay. Mr. Aki, please, I'd like to please indulge you to please evaluate myself, the first speech competition, please.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. My apology. I thought Ave will pick it up where I left off the last contest, but that's fine. I would just say a few words. At least it's good that we will not be voting for this evaluation, but I took a few notes. Thank you so much for giving us the gift of your speech. Congratulations on stepping up to actually do this. It's actually very inspiring to me personally, and I'm not saying this to make you feel good. I'm telling you right from here how you made me feel tonight. I like the start to your speech. That was a great start. You said on Friday. I love it when you start a speech with a story. On Friday, you drew me in right away, and I wanted to hear more, and you continued on. That was very good. Another outstanding aspect of your speech. Again, I'm just going to look at the great part of your speech, the opportunities that I see. I am not using any CCC or COC, whatever. Just those two elements, so that hopefully you'll have time to work on them. I like your use of your body. I mean, the body language was phenomenal. When you wanted to look down, you actually looked down. When you wanted to look up, you looked up. When you needed to point people in the direction that you are going, you pointed us in that direction. And all the while, you did not leave the frame. It's vitally important, because that's one of the rules Toastmasters International is asking us to be aware of these days. Whatever you are presenting, don't do anything that will make you get away from the frame. Don't do that. That's one thing that they have warned speakers in recent times to be aware of. You did very well. I love the clarity of your voice. You spoke like somebody that have rested well in the course of the day and is just waking up and maybe you rested well, you exercised, and then you are ready to go. It was with impact. I love that. And I love the vocal variety. When you needed to speak up, you did. When you needed to kind of tone it down, you did. That was fantastic. Then your speech, and here is one of the icing on the cake. You actually clearly articulated key takeaways. I am going to talk about these three things, and they are this, and this. Number one, you zeroed in on that number one, and then you told us what you like to communicate. That was very good, because many times people speak and you kind of say, oh yeah, that was very good, but you don't take anything away. So that was really very good. And then, of course, you followed Mr. Avi's advice, the use of props. Glass half empty, glass half full. And you did that twice. What you told me was that you weren't really making stuff up. You actually meant to do that. You didn't just do it one time, you did it again. I said, this is good. So thank you so very much. In terms of a few things that you should consider working on. Number one, there are certain aspects of your speech that you need to be smoother than you were. For example, when you were going to talk about somebody's performance discussion, you said in December, there was a pause. You should know exactly in December 2022, those three words, in December 2022, there should be no pause. You can pause after you've said that, but you can't say in December and then you are not sure of the year. No, don't do that. And then, of course, before then, I had noticed it, but I didn't jot it down specifically. But I remember that one specifically. When you did it again, I thought I should let you know. And then I know that you got some notes. In my view, there were times in the course of your speech where you didn't need to look down at your notes. I want you to get so familiar with your speech that you can talk about it in your sleep. You still use the notes, but minimize looking down. So look down less. That was my second feedback to you. And I know you will deliver impactful speech. The last but not the least is, please use a clearer background. Your background as it is right now is going to work against you on the contest day. Just use, even if it's a standard Toastmasters background, or if it's a white wall or whatever, don't let there be anything else in your background. Of course, Toastmasters International since 1924 is a background that you could use if you want to use a virtual background, but it's totally up to you. I mean, aside from those three things, I thought you did phenomenally well. In fact, I was clapping for you in the background, even though I didn't show my video when you were done. That was very good. You actually made not just you proud tonight, you made me proud, you made every member of our club proud tonight. Well done. Good job. Just go there and deliver with impact like that. Well done.
Thank you, Mr. Ikioni, for that powerful evaluation. At this point, I would like to call in Mr. Avi to please do your evaluation.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Elias, first thing first, if this was your regular Toastmaster evening for Southwest Project Management speech, amazing job, very well done. Of course, for contest, this is a very good speech that you have given. So don't feel like I'm gonna, jump on you with something negative here. You did a very good job here. Now let's get something, serious about things now. This feedback that I'm going to give you is specifically tailored for Tall Tales contest, and how, if you can incorporate some of it or add your own ideas, how you can win the Tall Tales contest. It's not just I'm giving you a constructive feedback here. So keep that in mind as a disclaimer here. That's number one. Number two, why I'm saying this way. You're not going to contest or have the contest between known faces. You will be contesting against people who have been doing this for a very long time, people who participated in international last time, and they thought, okay, this year, what should I do? Let's participate in Tall Tales. So that kind of experienced, professional, sharpened people who will be contesting it, and you're going against them. Specifically on the Division M, we know the people who are going against. So keep that in mind while I'm giving you all this feedback here, because we want you to win, and we know you will win from here. Okay, let's take out the good thing first, because you are good in that. Number one, your speech was absolutely innovative. No doubt about that. In a realistic way, nobody can think that, oh, you're talking about a soccer game that's on moon and all, and you made it too funny. Very well done. Of the thing, your voice is crisp, clear, and very sharp. Very well done. Keep it that way if possible on the day of the contest. Let's put it out of the way. Third thing is the way you created the stage for your speech. You gave the intro, you gave who are the casting members of your speech and where your speech will be going. Very well done. That's the premise that you have stated within the first 10 seconds. People are going to keep that in mind throughout. Now let's get real with what are the things that can help you. Okay, first thing first. Tall Tales is not a regular international contest. Tall Tales means a comedian or an innovative creative person who can go wild in their imagination and go wild in the presentation. So one thing that will help you is stand up, use your body as much as possible, use the frame as much as possible to showcase, exert the funny part, exert the impact of all the speech that you're giving right now. To me, I thought it may be lacking because you're sitting down, you're calm. That's your personality. I know you're a very calm and stable person, but in Tall Tales, that will work against you because you have to go energetic, wild, passionate about your speech there. Next, hand gestures and voice modulation. If you're a comedian, if you have seen any of the shows in Netflix, Hulu, or in person, anywhere in concert, they will use their hand, they will use their voice. And why I'm saying this, the trick or the tool that a comedian or somebody who knows how to make fun of things has two things as part of their arsenal. One is voice modulation, and second is timing to land their joke. Your speech is amazing. At times when you're putting the fun part out, that's when the voice is constant. The only person I have seen here who was laughing at times was Jessica, because you talked about certain things and maybe she recalled certain aspect of the speech, related to what she might have been thinking there. Then it was relatable to her. 50 people or 10 judges may not relate at that point. So time your joke landing well. Give a little pause. Use the voice as much as possible to modulate which is the high point, which is the low point of it. Now, third thing, or the final thing I would say before I close out here, this is supposed to be a fun thing. You are too serious. In Tall Tales, you have to be laughing. The only time I saw you laugh or break out into laughter is when the timer was messing up with the mute button there. That's when I saw you laugh. But if you don't laugh, if you don't have fun, people looking at you will not have fun. So make sure you follow those things from there. Apart from that, if possible, use a soccer ball as your prop. In things like this, the visualization, as much as you create for the audience and the judges, it will help you score points. With that, thank you. All the very best. I know you will do great. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Abby, our Toastmaster of the day.
Sorry, Mr. General Evaluator, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Again, we want our contestants to go out there and win. There's no other option. So, Elias, to Abby's point, when you started your first statement, that statement, you should not say it sitting down. And if you are saying it sitting down, you need to really Mom, I forgot the phrase, but that phrase, you just said it sitting still. To have this point, people are going to be confused. Okay, what are you talking about? Please, it's very, very important. So thanks, Harvey, for hitting the nail on the head. Because I noticed that as well. Back to you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, at this point, I would like to call on Mr. Jorge to help tell us how we did in terms of qualifications for time.
Yeah, our 3 evaluators qualified. 3 evaluators. I didn't time the unofficial evaluators for the meeting. So Elias, Tosin, and Jorge, the 3 of us qualified.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jorge. The next line is our grammarian report. Carol Reader, okay. Would you please?
We need to vote for best evaluator, please.
Okay, all right, please. Can we vote for the best evaluator, please? We can send our individual chats to the president, Mr. Jorge, please.
I think we got all the votes.
Okay, thank you. Bearing in mind that we are running out of time, I would indulge us that we skip the timer, and then we can just go to the grammarian and the R counter. So please, Carol Reader, please, would you please give the grammarian report?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Tosin. And I'm not, what is your last name, Mr. Tosin?
Asher.
Asher, thank you very much. I am blown away by this club every time I hear your speeches and your evaluations. You're just wonderful. This time was no exception. I had 3 speeches. I couldn't pick who was the best between them. They were all wonderful. I'll start with Jessica. You had some wonderful phrases in there and some very crisp and clear slides, and that's what I enjoyed. You made your comparisons very clear, every one of them, and I did not hear any grammatical errors in your talk. I think it was very effective that you had at the end, stay tuned. I think I'm very excited to hear the next part of your speech. That was a very innovative way to do that. Let's see, my next person to speak was Rafia. Rafia, you did one thing that you've done that I rarely hear people do, but you did very well. You had a very dramatic pause in your speech at the very beginning, and it was very dramatic because you were talking about having these children, and then you said that they were a Montessori school, and you also very clearly identified the way that they would grow up, and that the circumstance for you being their leader to them being their leaders, you made that transition very clear in your speech and congratulated them for it. You also used the words, your challenges wait outside. I thought that was very effective in your speech. Akin, in your speech, I loved it because you were speaking my language. My previous position was as a quality manager, and I was very involved with management of documents, management of records, control of documents and records, control of change, failure modes and effects analysis for worrying about things that needed to be changed periodically. So I really dug into that. I think that that was very, very well done. And I'm very glad that you've used that as and are getting your next DTM. As far as the speakers for the contest are concerned, Elias, I loved your speech again, and I'm going to second all the wonderful evaluation that Avi gave to you with the also the second of Akin on your speech. It was better this time than it was last time, more clear this time than it was last time, and funnier this time than it was last time. So do the things they say, and I think you'll be a winner on that. Tosin, with regard to your speech, I loved it. I loved every bit of it. I loved your visuals, and when you held up the glass and you said that the water was dripping out because the man was disappointed in what he had got, and you did your tick, tick, tick. I thought that was very clever and very effective. Thank you very much. And that's my report on our grammar use. Thank you. Oh, and Tosin also used the word of the day. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, our grammarian of the day, our reader. At this point, I'd like us to also call an accounter. Jessica, please, if you can keep it short,
Sure.
that'd be great.
Yeah. So, Tosin, when you do the speech and when you do the general evaluator, I didn't catch anything. I think it's when you do the speech evaluation, I caught around 5 R's. Akin, I was surprised I can catch something this time. So I got 5 when you do the evaluation. And Rafia, I got a couple of us during your speech. And Elias, I didn't catch anything when you talk, but when you do the evaluation, I caught several us. And that's it. Everybody else is pretty good. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your accounting report. At this juncture, I would like to call on Mr. Jorge to please give the timer report.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. Everybody was very cognizant of their time tonight. Rafia's speech was exactly 3 minutes. Akin was 10 minutes and 20 seconds. And Jessica was 6 minutes and 30 seconds. For the evaluators, Elias was exactly 2 minutes. Tosin was 3 minutes, 30 seconds. And I was reported that my speech was 3 minutes and 11 seconds. So thank you very much for everybody to stay right on time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Jorge. Now, at this point, as the general evaluator, I will evaluate the meeting. Because of our time, I would like to thank everybody. I thought this meeting was really good. I thought we poured ourselves into the meeting. I thought we were on top of our game. And just to say thank you to everyone that participated. Also, thank you to our guests for coming, Mr. Jeff Phillips. We do appreciate you coming over. Overall, I thought we've done very well. There's no point to rehash any of the statements. I thought we've done very well. And at this point, I'd like to please return the control to the Toastmaster of the day, Mr. Avi.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. General Evaluator. And before I close, I want to second Carol's opinion. The club is doing really good. We come from different backgrounds, and this is the platform where we get to practice so many things. Rafia's speech was, I feel, very emotional today because, this is not every day you get to see your class teacher standing up and giving a speech like this happening, right? And a few weeks back, we have seen Jorge give a similar speech for the daughter's wedding there. So Toastmaster platform, well used. Thank you. And let me transfer the control of this meeting to a president for the closure and guests' feedback. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmasters. And once again, we have a very successful meeting. We are going to be just a couple of minutes over our 8 o'clock time, but I think that's okay. Thank you very much for our area director, Mr. Jeff Phillips, for being with us here tonight. You are welcome to come anytime you want to. And thank you also for offering that some of our own speakers can go and participate in your club, like you did for someone that is planning to go and visit with your club. And for Ms. Rhonda, thank you for being with us tonight. I mean, you are welcome to come anytime you want. And I know that your video is not working, but if you want to say a few words, if you want to share with us how you like the meeting, and if you have any word of advice for us, and again, you are welcome to come anytime and participate. And next time, maybe you can also present a speech or participate in our table topics. So anyway, we are going to be ready for that speech contest, the international speech contest on March the 9th. It's on a Saturday afternoon, if I'm correct. We can log in and see our representative participating. So I encourage everybody to spend that Saturday afternoon and log in and go and cheer for them and give them positive energy. That will be awesome if we can bring that energy to them and know that they are going to be great at that very tough, very competitive competition. So with that, that's all I have to say for tonight. Once again, thank you for participating. Thank you for preparing those very great speeches. Thank you for our evaluators and everybody that participated either as a grammarian, a timer, general evaluator, and all the different roles. I really appreciate your help. And I know Mr. Akim is asking for the floor. Yes, Mr. Akim?
Yes, I would like thank you, Mr. President, for giving me this opportunity. I'd like the AD for M33 to say a few words. And if there's any news from the district that we should be aware of, we know that it's contest season, but do you have anything for us? How did you see the meeting tonight? What's your impression of our club? You know, yes. So over to you, Mr. Jeff Phillips.
Thank you, Akeem. I just want to say I don't really have any words other than the fact that we have our contest coming up, area contest coming up on the March 9th. And it seems like you guys already got your speakers, together. So I'm looking forward to the competition. And I appreciate being here tonight. And I enjoyed all the speeches tonight. I enjoyed everyone here. So thank you for having me today or tonight.
Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. And before I let you guys home, it's time to renew your memberships. Remember, it expires at the end of March, so our new membership start on April 1st. You can all go online, get into Toastmasters International, log in, and you can just register there and update renew your membership with Toastmasters International. So I encourage you. It won't take too long. Yes, Mr. Phillips.
I'm sorry. One more thing, though, too. Please send your winners on the form in this email, and I can email it to the contest chair.
Yes, sir. That's going to be what I'm in my task for tomorrow. I'll be sending those tomorrow for sure. Yes, sir. So with that, if we don't have any more for tonight, I'll let you go back with your families. Thank you for spending a grand, wonderful Wednesday evening with us. And I'll see you guys back on the second Wednesday, not second weekend, second Wednesday in March for our next meeting.
Anybody? Sorry, one quick message, Mr. President. My apologies for jumping in again. I know a few people have asked me questions around our sister PMI Houston sponsored club when they meet.
Yes,
Galleria area Project Management Toastmasters Club. They meet on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th. I believe it's Wednesdays. I'm not sure. Avi, do you know? I know it's 1st, 3rd, and 5th. Wednesday, because they know that we meet on the 2nd and the 4th Wednesday.
They do the alternate weeks that we do.
Yeah, okay. So